The crowd roared as the final enemy fell. Tyler stood in the center of the arena, his scaled chest rising and falling with satisfaction. Around him, his squad moved with perfect precision, checking corners and securing the area. Another flawless victory. Another perfect score. 15-0. The announcer's voice boomed across the massive stadium. Vex's squad remains undefeated. 3 years without a single loss. Tyler looked up at the screens, showing his team's performance. The numbers were beautiful. 0 casualties. 0 mistakes. His tactical planning had been perfect, as always. He was a commander of the Reptilian Empire, trained since birth to lead warriors in the battle. His squad was the best in the galaxy. Vorn approached, his massive insectoid frame carrying the heavy plasma cannon like it weighed nothing. "Too easy, Commander," he clicked in his native language, which the translators converted to standard speech. The Andorian warriors were supposed to be strong. They fell in 12 minutes. Tyler nodded. They relied too much on their shields. I predicted their formation would collapse once we hit their flanks. He tapped the side of his head with a clawed finger. Superior tactics always defeat brute force. Calyx landed beside them, her wings folding against her avian body. As the squad scout, she had eliminated 3 enemies before they even knew the match had started. "The betting pools are going crazy," she said, her beak clicking with amusement. "No one thinks anyone can beat us now." "Because no one can," Dressa added, her aquatic features gleaming under the arena lights. She carried medical equipment she hadn't needed to use. "We haven't taken a serious injury in 8 months. Our coordination is perfect." The 4 squad members walked toward the exit tunnel, waving at the cheering crowd. Beings from 100 different species filled the seats, all watching the greatest combat tournament in known space. The Galactic Combat Arena brought together the finest warriors from across the stars. Military squads competed in simulated battles, testing tactics, technology, and teamwork, and Vex's squad had dominated every single challenge dot in the locker room. Tyler removed his armor and checked the holographic display showing tournament rankings. Vex's squad sat at the top, their score so high that second place was barely visible on the same scale. He smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Commander," Vorn said, pointing at the display. "Look at this." "There's a new entry." Tyler glanced at the screen. Among the squad names and team rosters, one entry stood out. It was listed differently from the others. Solo entry, Hana, representative of Earth. The room went quiet. "Solo?" Calyx said, her feathers ruffling in confusion. "Someone entered alone? What's Earth?" Dressa asked, pulling up information on her personal datapad. "I've never heard of it." Tyler accessed the Galactic database. Earth appeared on his screen with a red warning marker. It's a planet in a distant arm of the galaxy. Class 12 Deathworld designation. Vorn's mandibles clicked nervously. Class 12? That's one of the highest danger ratings. What kind of species evolves on a world like that? The database showed images of Earth. Tyler scrolled through the information, his eyes widening slightly. The planet had extreme weather patterns, dangerous predators, high gravity, and toxic plant life. The oxygen content alone would make most species dizzy. These humans evolved in this environment? Apparently, Dressa said, reading her own screen. But look at their physical stats. They're small. Weak bone structure compared to us. No natural armor, no claws, no venom. Their technology level is barely advanced enough for space travel. Calyx laughed, a harsh sound. And one of them thinks they can compete against trained squads? Against us? Tyler closed the database. It's probably a publicity stunt. Earth is new to the galactic community. They want attention. He stretched his arms, already dismissing the concern. Let them embarrass themselves. It will be entertaining. The next day, Tyler attended the tournament briefing. Commanders and squad leaders from 50 different teams gathered in the conference hall. The tournament officials explained the new brackets and match schedules. That's when Tyler saw her. She sat alone in the back row, away from the other teams. She was small, perhaps 2/3 his height. Her skin was a light tan color, smooth and unarmored. Dark hair was pulled back from her face. She wore a simple black combat suit, nothing like the advanced powered armor most competitors used. She looked fragile. Breakable. Other commanders noticed her too. Whispers spread through the hall. That's the human? She looks so weak. This is who Earth sends? A large commander from the Krulan Empire stood and pointed at her. This is an insult to the tournament. We train for years to compete here, and they send one small being with no armor, no weapons, no squad. The human Hannah looked up at him. Her face showed no emotion. She simply stared with dark eyes that seemed to measure everything about him. I am Hannah, she said in perfect standard language. I will compete according to the rules. If you believe I am not worthy, then defeat me in the arena. The Krulan commander laughed, and others joined him. Even Tyler found himself amused. She had courage, at least. Foolish courage, but courage nonetheless. The tournament official raised a hand for silence. The human has passed all medical examinations and met all requirements. She will compete. Against full squads? Someone asked. If she chooses to, the official replied. Hannah stood. She was shorter than everyone in the room, smaller than most. But she walked to the front with steady steps. I will face squads. I will fight according to your rules. And I will show you what humans can do. More laughter filled the room. Tyler studied her carefully. She showed no fear, no doubt. Either she was incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Probably both. Deathworlders were known for being reckless. Their dangerous home planets made them desperate and wild. But desperate and wild didn't win battles. Tactics won battles. Technology won battles. Training won battles. This human had none of those things. Good luck, little human, Tyler said, loud enough for her to hear. Try not to get hurt too badly in your first match. Hannah turned to look at him. For a moment, their eyes met. Tyler felt something strange, something he couldn't quite identify. It wasn't fear in her eyes. It was something else. Something that made his combat instincts whisper a warning. Then she smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible. Thank you for your concern, she said quietly. But where I come from, we learn to take hits. We learn to keep moving. We learn to survive. She walked out of the hall, leaving confused silence behind her. Vorn appeared at Tyler's side. Commander, what do you think? Tyler watched the door where the human had exited. I think she will lose her first match and go home. Deathworld or not, she's alone against trained warriors. It's impossible. But that strange feeling remained. Like an itch he couldn't scratch deep in his mind. In the part that had kept him alive through countless battles, a small voice whispered, Be careful. Tyler ignored it. He was the champion. He was undefeated. What could one small human possibly do? Hannah stood in the medical examination room, surrounded by scanning equipment that hummed and beeped. The alien doctors moved around her, their faces showing confusion and concern. She had seen those expressions before when Earth first made contact with the galactic community. Everyone always looked at humans that way. This cannot be correct, the head physician said. A being with purple skin and 6 arms. He checked the scanner again. Run the bone density test once more. An assistant activated the machine. Beams of light passed through Hannah's body, measuring and analyzing. The results appeared on the holographic display. The physician made a sound of disbelief. Her bones, they're incredibly dense. This reading suggests they can withstand impacts that would shatter most species' skeletal structures. Check the cardiovascular system, another doctor suggested. More scans. More shocked reactions. Her heart is a muscle pump that can operate under extreme stress, the physician explained to his team. And look at this blood composition. Red cells designed to carry oxygen in high concentrations. Her body can function in environments that would suffocate us. What about toxin resistance? The physician pulled up chemical analysis. Remarkable. Her liver can process substances that are lethal to 70% of known species. And her immune system. He trailed off, shaking his head. I've never seen anything like this. It's as if her body is constantly fighting an invisible war. Because it is, Hannah said quietly. She had heard all of this before. Earth is full of bacteria, viruses, and parasites. Our bodies learn to fight them. All the time. Every day. The physician looked at her with something like wonder. And the muscle structure. Your species has both slow twitch and fast twitch muscle fibers in optimal ratios. You can sprint, and you can run for hours. How is that possible? We evolved as hunters, Hannah explained. We would chase prey until it got tired and collapsed. Sometimes for days. Silence filled the room. Days? The assistant whispered. My ancestors would track an injured animal across vast distances. Hannah continued. The animal would run. We would walk. It would rest. We would keep walking. Eventually, it couldn't run anymore. That's how we survived. The physician made notes on his datapad, his hands trembling slightly. I need to report this to the tournament officials. They need to understand what they're dealing with. An hour later, Hannah sat in the competitor's lounge. Other beings gave her space, watching her with curious and suspicious eyes. Some whispered to each other. She heard fragments of conversation. Is she really going to fight alone? The medical reports are spreading. They say she's built like a combat machine. She doesn't look dangerous. Hannah allowed herself a small smile. That was always the mistake. Humans didn't look dangerous. They didn't have fangs or claws or natural armor. They looked soft and weak-thawed until they didn't. A holographic screen showed tournament matches. Hannah watched carefully, studying how the alien squads fought. They relied heavily on energy shields, advanced sensors, and coordinated firepower. Their tactics were complex and well-practiced, but she noticed something else. When their shields failed, they panicked. When their sensors were blocked, they became confused. When the fighting got close and physical, they retreated. They had forgotten how to fight with their hands, their bodies. Their instincts. Earth had never let humans forget. The tournament bracket appeared on the main display. Hannah's first match was scheduled against the Krillian Hunters, a squad of 4 professional warriors known for their hunting expertise. They had won their last 6 matches. Attention, solo competitor Hannah, a voice announced through the speakers. Please report to the preparation area. Your match begins in 1 hour. Hannah stood and walked toward the preparation rooms. As she passed a group of large reptilian warriors, one of them spoke loud enough for her to hear. I give her 5 minutes before she quits. 5 minutes? I say 2. Another laugh. Hannah didn't respond. Words didn't matter. Only results mattered. In the preparation room, she changed into her combat gear. Simple, flexible clothing that allowed full range of motion. Lightweight boots designed for speed and grip. No powered armor, no energy shields. Just her and her body. She began her warm-up routine. Stretching, joint rotations, breathing exercises. Her heart rate was calm, steady. She thought about her training on Earth, running through mountains where the air was thin. fighting in deserts where heat could kill, surviving in frozen environments that burned skin and froze blood, swimming in oceans against currents that could drag a person under. Earth had tested her every day of her life. This tournament was just another test. A memory surfaced. Her younger brother Junho, standing at the spaceport when she left Earth. He had hugged her tight and whispered, "Show them what we can do. Show them we belong here." She would. The door opened and a tournament official entered. "Competitor Hannah, it's time. Please follow me to the arena entrance." The walk through the corridor felt long. She could hear the crowd, thousands of voices creating a wall of sound. The official led her to a large gate that would open into the combat zone. "The simulation is a jungle environment," the official explained. "The plants are real, grown from seeds of various planets. Some are toxic. Some are carnivorous. The Krillian hunters are already in position, waiting." "Do you understand the rules?" "Yes," Hannah said. "You can surrender at any time by speaking the safe word. Medical teams will extract you immediately." "I understand." The official hesitated. "Are you certain you want to proceed?" "Fighting alone against 4 trained hunters is extremely dangerous." Hannah looked at him. "I'm from Earth. Everything is dangerous." The official stepped back. "The match will begin when the gate opens. Good luck." The gate mechanism activated with a loud hiss. Through the growing opening, Hannah saw the jungle simulation. Thick vegetation, humid air, sounds of creatures moving in the shadows. The crowd noise swelled to a roar. Hannah stepped forward into the arena. The gate closed behind her with a solid thud. She stood still for a moment, letting her senses adjust. The air was warm and wet, but not uncomfortable. The plants around her were indeed toxic. She could smell the chemical defenses they produced. But compared to some earth plants, these were mild. "Begin." The announcer's voice echoed. Hannah didn't rush forward. She moved into the vegetation slowly, carefully. Her eyes scanned the environment, reading the terrain. Her ears picked out sounds, separating natural noises from artificial ones. Somewhere ahead, the Krillian hunters were waiting. They had sensors, weapons, and a plan. But Hannah had something they didn't single quotes to dot. She had been born on a planet that tried to kill her every single day. She had survived Earth. And if you could survive Earth, you could survive anything. She moved deeper into the jungle, becoming one with the shadows. Her breathing slowed. Her movements became silent. Thousands of years of predator instincts activated in her blood. The hunt had begun. In the observation room, Thyla watched the monitor showing Hannah's position. Or rather, where her position should be. The thermal sensors were having difficulty tracking her. "What's wrong with the equipment?" Kellex asked. "Nothing," the technician replied, confused. "But her body temperature is regulating somehow. She's matching the environment temperature." Thyla leaned closer to the screen. "Impossible. No being can control their temperature that precisely." On another monitor, the Krillian hunters moved through the jungle in formation, their weapons ready, their sensors sweeping the area. They were searching for her. They didn't know that she had already found them. And the hunt, the real hunt, was just beginning. The Krillian hunters moved through the jungle in perfect formation. 4 trained warriors, each one a professional hunter from a species that had dominated their home planet's food chain. Their leader, Krath, held up a clawed hand to signal a stop. "Sensors are picking up thermal anomalies," he growled into his squad's communication channel. "But nothing definite. The human must be hiding. How long do we wait?" asked Valm, the squad's heavy weapons specialist. His armor gleamed with power indicators, all systems running at full capacity. "We don't wait," Krath decided. "We sweep the zone. Standard hunting pattern. She's alone and unarmed. This will be quick." The 4 spread out, maintaining visual contact with each other. Their sensors swept the jungle, looking for movement, heat signatures, anything that would reveal their prey. Above them, hidden in the thick canopy, Hana watched. She had climbed a tree as soon as she entered the jungle. It was instinct, really. Get high, observe, understand the terrain. The aliens walked beneath her, their attention focused on ground level. They never looked up. Predators on Earth had learned that lesson long ago. Always check above. Hana studied each hunter. Their armor was impressive, full of technology and protective systems. But it was also heavy. They moved slower than they probably realized. And their reliance on sensors made them predictable. The hunter on the left, separated from his squad by about 20 meters, was her target. She waited until he passed directly beneath her position. Then she dropped. For a moment, she was in free fall. The alien sensors screamed a warning, but too late. Hana landed on his shoulders, her weight and momentum driving him to the ground. Before he could react, she struck a precise point on his neck, right where the armor seams met. The impact stunned him. Enemy contact! He managed to shout before Hana rolled away, disappearing back into the vegetation. The other 3 hunters rushed to their teammates' position. Status, Krath demanded. She came from above. The downed hunter gasped, struggling to rise. How did she get above me? Forget how, Velm growled. Where is she now? Their sensors swept the area frantically. Nothing. The human had vanished. In the observation room, the crowd erupted in excited chatter. On the holographic display, Hana's icon was moving through the jungle at steady pace, completely undetected by the hunter's equipment. How is she avoiding their sensors? A spectator asked. The technician monitoring the match pulled up her readings. I think she's using the environment. See how she moves? She's staying near the warm plants, the toxic vegetation. The chemical signatures are masking her biological signals. Tyler leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. The human wasn't just hiding. She was using the jungle itself as camouflage, understanding the environment better than the sensors did. Back in the arena, Krath had regrouped his squad into a tight defensive circle. She's using ambush tactics, he said. Fine. We'll force her to come to us. He activated his heavy pulse rifle. Fire pattern delta. Burn the vegetation in a widening circle. Flush her out. The hunters opened fire. Energy bolts scorched the jungle, setting plants ablaze and creating a circle of destruction around their position. Hana felt the heat from the flames. She was already moving, circling around to a new position. The hunters thought fire would scare her out of hiding, but Hana had trained in forest fires on Earth. She knew how fire moved, how it behaved, where it would spread and where it would stop. This controlled burning was nothing compared to a wildfire raging through dry California brush. She found a small stream cutting through the jungle. The water was murky but flowing. She slipped into it, letting the current carry her downstream while the hunters continued, burning vegetation behind her. Krath watched his sensors. Still nothing. He snarled in frustration. How can she avoid detection this completely? Maybe she's already eliminated, Velm suggested. Maybe she quit. No, Krath said. Something in his hunter's instincts told him the human was still out there. Still watching. Still waiting. He was right. Hana emerged from the stream 50 meters away from the hunter's position. She could see them through the burned vegetation, clustered together, thinking their defensive formation would protect them. They were wrong. She picked up a rock, smooth and heavy. Then she waited, patient as death, for her moment. One of the hunters, a female named Sira, stepped away from the group to check their flank. Just 3 meters. Just enough separation. Hana threw the rock. It sailed through the air and struck a tree trunk behind the hunters with a loud crack. All 4 spun toward the sound. Weapons raised. Hana moved. She sprinted forward, closing the distance while they were distracted. Her boots barely made sound on the jungle floor. She had learned to run quietly in forests where predators hunted by sound. She reached Sira before the hunter even knew she was there. A sweep of her leg took Sira's feet out from under her. As the hunter fell, Hana caught her weapon and twisted it away. "Contact rear," Sira shouted. The other hunters turned, but Hana was already moving again. She used Sira's body as cover, staying low, making herself a difficult target. Krath couldn't get a clean shot without risking hitting his own teammate. "Spread out," he ordered. That was his mistake. Hana wanted them separated. As Val moved to the right, Hana burst from her cover in a full sprint. The heavy weapons hunter raised his plasma cannon, but Hana was faster. She covered the ground between them in heartbeats, ducking under his weapon and driving her shoulder into his midsection. The impact should have been nothing. Hana was small, barely half his weight, but she hit like a hammer. Valm's armor cracked with the force. He stumbled backward, wheezing. The human's bones were so dense, her muscles so tightly packed, that the collision felt like being hit by a small vehicle. Hana grabbed his weapon arm and twisted. Not gently. With all her strength, the joint couldn't take it. Velm cried out in pain as his shoulder dislocated. "Two down," Hana said quietly. Krath and the fourth hunter, Jex, opened fire. Energy bolts sizzled through the air. Hana rolled behind a large tree trunk, feeling the heat of the shots as they passed where she had been standing. Her heart was pounding. Adrenaline flooded her system. But she was calm. This was what humans did. They pushed through pain, through fear, through exhaustion. They kept going. She waited for a pause in their fire, that brief moment when they needed to adjust their aim or check their weapons. Then she ran again, zigzagging between trees, making herself unpredictable. Jex tracked her movement, his finger on the trigger. He led her path, anticipating where she would emerge, but Hana didn't emerge where he expected. She jumped, pushing off a tree trunk to change direction mid-stride, landing in a roll that brought her right next to Jex's position. Close combat. Hand to hand. Where technology didn't matter and only speed and strength counted, Jex swung his armored fist at her head. Hana ducked under it and struck his knee joint. The armor protected him, but the impact still hurt. She followed with a palm strike to his chest plate that dented the metal. Jex staggered back, amazed. "What is she made of?" "Calcium phosphate and determination," Hana answered, then swept his legs. Only Krath remained standing. The squad leader watched his three teammates down or injured, and the small human standing in the middle of the jungle like she belonged there. "You're not what we expected," Krath admitted. "No one ever expects us," Hana replied. Krath raised his weapon but didn't fire. "Your tactics are impressive, primitive, but effective. How did you learn to hunt like this?" "On Earth, everyone hunts or gets hunted. We learned millions of years ago. We never forgot." Krath nodded slowly. "I yield. My squad is defeated." The match ended. Medical teams rushed in to help the injured hunters. None of them were seriously hurt, but their pride was wounded beyond repair. The crowd went absolutely silent for 3 long seconds. Then the noise exploded like a bomb. Thousands of voices shouting at once in disbelief and excitement. In the observation room, Thyler stood frozen, staring at the display showing the match statistics. Hana had won 4-0. She had defeated a trained hunting squad using nothing but physical combat and basic tactics. She hadn't even used a weapon. "Luck," Thyler muttered. "It was just luck." But Vorn's mandibles clicked nervously. "Commander, did you see how she moved? How she adapted to the environment?" "That wasn't luck." Thyler didn't answer. He was watching the replay, studying every movement the human made. And deep inside, that small voice of warning grew louder. Hana walked out of the arena, barely breathing hard. She had won her first match. She had 47 more to go before she faced Vex's squad, and she was just getting started. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks that changed everything. Hannah advanced through the tournament bracket, like water flowing downhill, steady, unstoppable, inevitable. Each match revealed something new about human capabilities, something that shocked the galactic audience. Her fifth match took place in an endurance arena. The simulation was designed to last hours, testing not just combat skill but physical stamina. Most squads rotated their members, taking breaks to recover while teammates fought. Hannah fought for 14 hours straight. The Vorlex strike team started strong, their 4 members fresh and confident. They used rotation tactics perfectly, always keeping 2 fighters in reserve. For the first 3 hours, they controlled the match. Then, hour 4 arrived. And 5, and 6, the Vorlock warriors started to tire. Their movements became slower. Their reactions dulled. They needed rest cycles, food, water. Hannah kept moving. Her pace never changed. She didn't slow down. By hour 10, the Vorlock squad was exhausted. Their reserve fighters had no energy left. They stumbled through the combat zone, desperately trying to hold their positions. Hannah walked past them and systematically eliminated each one. They were too tired to fight back. How? Their commander gasped as medical teams carried him out. How can you keep going? Hannah wiped sweat from her face. Humans are built for endurance. We can run for days if we need to. Our bodies are efficient with energy. This is normal for us. The galactic media went crazy. Headlines spread across every news network. Deathworlder fights for 14 hours without rest. Human physiology breaks all expectations. Who are these Earth beings? Scientists scrambled to study human biology. Medical reports from Earth were requested and analyzed. What they found amazed them. Humans could regulate their body temperature through sweating. Most species overheated quickly during exercise. Humans could cool themselves and keep going. Humans stored energy in both muscle and fat, allowing for sustained activity. Most species burned through their reserves quickly. Humans had remarkable mental endurance, able to push through pain and fatigue that would make other species stop. In her 8th match, Hannah faced the Draxian chemical warriors in a toxic environment arena. The simulation was filled with poisonous gas that required protective breathing equipment. The Draxians wore full environmental suits with oxygen supplies. Hannah wore a simple filter mask. The tournament officials had checked and rechecked. The gas in the arena would cause severe respiratory damage to most species within minutes. It was rated as a level 8 toxin. Hannah breathed it like slightly polluted city air. This is similar to industrial areas on Earth, she explained during the post-match interview. We have factories, vehicles, and pollution. Our lungs adapted. This gas is annoying but not dangerous to me. The Draxians had lasted 12 minutes before their oxygen supplies became their weakness. Hannah had targeted their air tanks, forcing them to retreat or suffocate. Victory, 4-0. By her 15th match, other competitors were terrified of facing her. The Zilner tactical group tried to study her patterns. To find a weakness, they chose a zero-gravity combat zone, thinking the human would struggle without up and down. They were wrong. Hannah moved through zero gravity like she was born in space. Her spatial awareness was extraordinary. On Earth, human ancestors had climbed trees, swung between branches, developed a sense of three-dimensional movement that other species lacked. In zero gravity, Hannah was a dancer. She pushed off walls, spun through the air, controlled her momentum with tiny adjustments. The Zilner fighters, used to relying on magnetic boots and tethers, couldn't keep up with her fluid motion. She eliminated all 4 in 8 minutes. The Galactic News networks started calling her the unstoppable one. Match 23 brought a new challenge. The Korvax heavy infantry specialized in high-gravity combat. They chose an arena with 2.5 times standard gravity. Most species would be crushed under that weight. Hannah stretched before the match, loosening her muscles. The Korvax warriors, each wearing powered exoskeletons to move in the heavy gravity, watched her with confusion. She wasn't wearing any assistance equipment. The match began. Hannah moved normally. Actually, better than normal. Earth's gravity was higher than standard galactic gravity. This arena felt like home to her. The Korvax, despite their powered suits, were slow. The extra gravity made their equipment strain. They lumbered through the zone like they were walking through mud. Hannah ran circles around them. Literally, she sprinted, jumped, rolled, and dodged while they struggled to turn around fast enough to track her. "She's faster in high gravity," one Korvax warrior shouted in disbelief. Of course she was. Her bones were dense enough to support the weight. Her muscles were strong enough to move it. Her cardiovascular system could pump blood against the extra pressure. 4-0. Again. In the competitors' lounge, other squads watched Hannah's matches on replay. They saw her adapt to every environment, overcome every challenge, defeat every opponent. "There has to be a way to beat her," a squad commander said. "She has no armor," another pointed out. "If we hit her hard enough, she'd go down." But everyone who had fought her said the same thing. She was tougher than she looked. Energy weapons that should have stunned her only slowed her down. Impacts that should have broken bones just bruised her. Pain that should have stopped her barely made her flinch. Between matches, Hannah made a video call to Earth. Her brother Junho appeared on the screen, grinning widely. "You're famous," Junho said. "Everyone on Earth is watching your matches. You're showing them what we can do." "I'm just fighting," Hannah replied. "No, you're more than that. You're proving we belong out here with them. That Earth isn't just some backward planet. That humans are strong." Hannah smiled. "How's Mom?" "Worried about you, as always. But proud. Really proud." They talked for a while, about home, about family, about normal things. It helped Hannah remember why she was here. She wasn't fighting for glory. She was representing Earth, representing humanity. After the call ended, she checked the tournament bracket. She had advanced to the quarterfinals. Only 8 competitors remained. 7 squads and 1 human. The next match would be against the Kalin Berserkers. Known for their aggressive rush tactics and overwhelming firepower, Hannah studied their previous matches. They charged forward, never retreating, using brute force to crush opponents. Their strategy was simple but effective. Against a normal opponent, the match took place in an urban combat zone. Streets and buildings creating a maze of cover and ambush points. The Kalin Berserkers charged the moment the match started, roaring their battle cries, firing weapons in a continuous barrage. Hannah let them come. She had learned patience in Earth's forests, waiting for prey, controlling her breathing, staying still even when every instinct screamed to move. The Berserkers rushed into the kill zone she had prepared. Simple traps using the environment. Unstable debris balanced to fall. Weakened structures ready to collapse. As they passed beneath a damaged building, Hannah kicked a support beam. The structure came down, not enough to seriously hurt the armored warriors, but enough to separate them, to break their formation. Then she attacked, one by one. Isolated, confused, Berserkers found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't catch, couldn't predict, couldn't overwhelm. 4-0. Semifinals. 4 competitors left. Hannah faced the Vryn Shadow Collective, masters of stealth and deception. They thought invisibility technology would give them the advantage, but Hannah didn't need to see them. She listened. She felt vibrations through the ground. She smelled their equipment's chemical signatures. Humans had hunted in darkness for thousands of years, using senses technology couldn't replicate. The Vryn thought they were invisible. Hana knew exactly where each one stood. 4 to 0. Finals. 2 competitors remained. Hana and Vex's squad. The entire galaxy watched. News networks from 1,000 worlds broadcast the upcoming match. Betting pools reached astronomical numbers. Arguments raged across social media and discussion forums. Could one human defeat the champions? The undefeated squad that had dominated for 3 years? Thyler sat in his preparation room, watching footage of Hana's matches for the 100th time. He had studied every movement, every tactic, every adaptation. "We can beat her," he told his squad. "She's good, but she's alone. We're a team. We have coordination she can't match." "She's never lost a match," Kellic said quietly. "Neither have we," Thyler snapped. "And we won't start now." But that voice of warning in his mind was screaming now. Vorn checked his weapons. Dressa prepared medical supplies. Kellic tested her sensors. They were ready. They had planned. They had trained. They were the champions. Hana stood alone in her preparation room. She closed her eyes and thought about Earth, about running through mountains, about surviving storms, about pushing through pain and exhaustion and fear. She thought about every human who had ever struggled, who had ever fought to survive, who had ever refused to quit. She opened her eyes. Tomorrow, she would show them what humanity truly meant. Tomorrow, the real battle would begin. The arena was packed beyond capacity. Beings from across the galaxy had traveled to witness this moment. The final match. The championship. Vex's squad, undefeated for 3 years, against the human who had shocked the universe. Hana walked through the entrance tunnel, hearing the roar of the crowd like ocean waves. She wore her simple combat suit, carried no weapons, showed no fear. Just another day. Just another fight. Vex's squad entered from the opposite side. 4 warriors in advanced armor, carrying the best weapons technology could provide. They had never lost. They had perfected their tactics through years of victory. The arena for the final match was a fortress simulation. Tall walls, defended positions, overlapping fields of fire. The perfect environment for defenders. Vex, his squad, would defend. Hana would attack. "This is it," the announcer's voice boomed. "The moment we've all been waiting for. Can the human continue her impossible run? Or will the champions prove why they've remained undefeated?" In the observation room, every screen was filled with the faces of beings watching from across space. Billions of viewers. The largest audience in tournament history. "Competitors, take your positions." Vex's squad moved into the fortress. Thyler directed his team with practiced precision. Vorn set up on the high wall with his heavy weapons, creating a kill zone that covered the main approach. Kellic positioned herself at a flanking point, ready to strike from an unexpected angle. Dressa stayed central, prepared to support anyone who needed help. "Perfect formation," Thyler said with satisfaction. "She'll have to cross open ground to reach us. We'll cut her down before she gets close." Hana stood at the starting point, studying the fortress. Thick walls. Defended positions. Nowhere to hide on the approach. It was designed to be impossible for a solo attacker. Good. Begin. Hana didn't run forward. She didn't charge. She walked. Steady steps across the open ground toward the fortress. "Is she insane?" Vorn muttered, tracking her with his weapons targeting system. "She's completely exposed." "Wait for my command," Thyler ordered. "Let her get closer. I want a clean kill." Hana kept walking. 50 meters from the fortress. 40, 30. "Fire!" Thyler commanded. Energy bolts screamed through the air. Vorn's heavy weapon. Calix's precision rifle. Both aimed at the small human walking alone across empty ground. The blasts hit her. Direct hits. Center mass. Hannah stumbled. Took a knee. Target down. Vorn shouted triumphantly. But Hannah stood up. The weapons were set to tournament safety levels. They would stun, disable, incapacitate most species. The pain would be overwhelming. Most beings would stay down. Hannah had trained in pain. Real pain. The kind Earth delivered without mercy. These energy blasts hurt. But pain was just sensation. Just signals. She had learned to ignore signals. She started walking again. What? Calix's voice cracked with disbelief. Hit her again. More shots. More direct hits. Hannah kept walking. Her face showed the pain. Sweat ran down her temples. But her legs kept moving. One step. Another step. Forward. This is impossible. Vorn fired his heavy weapon continuously. She should be down. She should be unconscious. Thyler watched through his scope, and for the first time in his career, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Fear. Hannah reached the fortress wall. The weapons couldn't angle down far enough to hit her there. She had made it to their position, despite everything they threw at her. She's at the wall. Dressa warned. I'll handle this, Calix said, activating her flight systems. She swooped down from her position, blades extended, ready to drive the human away from the wall. Hannah heard the wings, turned, waited. Calix dove at her, fast and precise. Hannah jumped. Not away. Toward. She caught Calix in midair, grabbing the avian warrior's wings and using the momentum to swing both of them in an arc. They hit the ground together, but Hannah landed on top, her knee driving into Calix's chest plate. The armor cracked. Calix gasped for air. One down, Hannah said quietly. She was inside the fortress now. Vorn's heavy weapon couldn't track her without hitting his own teammates. Thyler rushed to intercept, firing his rifle at close range. The shots hit Hannah in the shoulder, the leg, the ribs. Each one would have dropped a normal opponent. Hannah grabbed a piece of debris and threw it. Not at Thyler, at his rifle. The impact knocked the weapon from his hands. Then she ran at him. Full sprint. No hesitation. Thyler was bigger, stronger. He braced for impact, ready to use his mass advantage. They collided. Thyler went backward. The hit felt like being struck by a freight transport. The human's dense bones, packed muscle, and absolute determination combined into a force he hadn't expected. His armor saved him from serious injury, but he crashed into a wall, dazed. Hannah didn't stop. She climbed the fortress wall, using handholds that weren't meant for climbing, moving with speed born from millions of years of evolution that had taught humans to climb before they could walk. She reached Vorn's position in seconds. The heavy weapons specialist tried to swing his massive cannon around to target her at close range. Too slow. Hannah was inside his reach, striking at the joints in his armor, finding the weak points through pure instinct. Vorn's armor locked up from the damage. He couldn't move. Two down, Hannah said. Dressa was the last mobile defender. The medic wasn't a frontline fighter, but she had been trained. She activated an energy shield and held a stun weapon, backing away from the approaching human. Stay back, Dressa shouted. I don't want to hurt you. Hannah paused. You're kind, she said. I respect that. But I came here to win. She charged. Dressa fired the stun weapon. The bolt hit Hannah directly. Humans had one more advantage the galaxy didn't know about. Their nervous system could adapt quickly to electrical interference. Tasers on Earth had led to the development of resistance. The stun weapon hurt, but Hannah's body flooded with adrenaline. Overriding the paralysis, she pushed through the shield, which was designed to stop weapons. not physical force applied with Deathworld strength. Dressa went down gently. Hannah didn't hurt her more than necessary. 3 down. Only Thyla remained. The commander had recovered, standing in the center of the fortress, watching the human who had dismantled his squad. How? He asked simply. How can you keep moving? We hit you dozens of times. You should be down. You should be broken. Hannah breathed heavily. Her body hurt everywhere. Burns from energy weapons covered her skin. Bruises were forming. Blood ran from a cut above her eye, but she stood. On Earth, she said, life is hard. Every day is a fight to survive. Whether that can kill you, predators that want to eat you, diseases that attack your body. Earth tested us for millions of years. She took a step forward. We learned to endure pain. We learned to keep moving when everything hurt. We learned that if you stop, you die. So we never stop. Another step. Your weapons are set to safe levels. They hurt, but can't kill. On Earth, nothing is set to safe. Everything wants you dead. This pain? She gestured at her injuries. This is normal. Thyla raised his hands in surrender. I yield, he said quietly. My squad is defeated. You win. The arena went silent. Absolutely silent. Thousands of beings held their breath. Then the noise exploded like a supernova. Cheers, shouts, roars of disbelief and celebration. The crowd went absolutely wild. Victory. The announcer screamed. The human has won. Hannah defeats Vex's squad. 4-0. A perfect championship run. Hannah stood in the center of the fortress, battered and bleeding, and raised one fist in the air. Medical teams rushed onto the field. They treated her injuries, which were significant but not serious. Her body would heal. It always did. In the recovery room, Thyla visited her. His squad stood behind him, looking at the human with new eyes. You fought with honor, Thyla said. And you taught us something important. What's that? Hannah asked. We forgot that before technology, before tactics, before formations. There was will, the desire to survive, the refusal to quit. He bowed his head. You reminded us. Thank you. Vorn stepped forward. Would you teach us how to fight like you do? How to push through pain? Hannah smiled. I can teach you what I know. But it's not just technique. It's mindset. It's understanding that your body can do more than you think. That limits are often just suggestions. The tournament officials arrived with the championship trophy. Hannah accepted it, feeling its weight. But the real weight was what this victory meant. Earth had proven itself. Humans had shown they belonged in the galaxy, not as weaklings needing protection, but as equals. As warriors. That night, Hannah made a video call home. Junho appeared on screen, crying and laughing at the same time. You did it! You actually did it! We did it, Hannah corrected. All of us. Everyone on Earth who survived and struggled and refused to give up. I just showed them what that looks like. Behind Junho, she could see her mother, wiping tears from her eyes. Come home safe, her mother said. We're so proud of you. I will, Hannah promised. The next day, ships arrived from Earth. Not just one representative now, but a delegation. Pilots, engineers, scientists, diplomats. Humans ready to take their place in galactic society. Among them were 3 people Hannah recognized. Minho, a shuttle pilot with a crazy grin. Sora, an engineer who had designed half of Earth's new spacecraft. Taiyang, a diplomat who could talk his way through anything. Heard you needed backup? Minho joked. I'm good, Hannah replied. But I'm glad you're here. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. The representatives had watched the tournament.